Well, hello there, friends and lovers, and thank you for joining us. Today is Sunday, and that means this is 5 Minutes with Robert and Amy Nasir.
Yo!
Yo! And yo! You! Thank you for joining us. I see several of you already in the chat. Obviously, clearly, undeniably one of my favorite parts of the show, and this is October 19th. And, I got the black lung.
Pop.
I love Zoolander. That's such a good movie.
He's like...
And yet further proof that great movies should not have sequels. Don't do the sequel thing. Oh, well. Yeah, I don't recommend Zoolander 2. It even had more cameos. They threw so much talent at it, but...
You throw talent at it.
Kind of like This Is Spinal Tap. It doesn't matter. You can't... anyway.
I gotta say, we just saw the second, End
Spinal
Continues,
Tap 2, The End Continues.
and it was better than, I think it was better than Zoolander 2, I'll just say.
That's true.
It is true.
Better than Zoolander. It was not as much of a lemon as Zoolander 2. Damned by faint praise. So there we go. Thank you, folks, for joining me on my birthday. Well, my birthday was this week, so this is one of the several really big and beautiful birthday balloons that made up my birthday. And that was about it. The reason for the cough is not really black lung. Amy and I are recovering.
Well, Robert had a man cold and I had a woman cold.
And so we switch over officially, despite the fact that my birthday week was really just about being sick. We switch over to Halloween. And some of you know from the solo episode I did a couple weeks ago, you of course met our friend there who filled in for Amy. In fact, Amy, you're going out again tonight.
I am.
Hot to trotting, whatever that word that would be.
I'm going to go haunting.
But fortunately, this week, Amy is with us before she goes out to the haunted houses.
Yeah.
It does mean that we can't run the show for hours and hours and hours, the way Dan Norton does, for example. I'll mention his show again before we are done. But we can go a while. And since we are both recovering, we don't want to go for hours anyway, even though we love talking with y'all. And y'all are in the chat. Thank you for joining us. We do appreciate that. Steven says, how are you doing? We're recovering. We're getting over things. And that's got to happen because, and I got to tell you this, by this time next week, we'll be in Cali. We're going to Cali.
Yes.
We're going to California with an aching in our heart. And
we're going to the land that Nostradamus predicted would fall into the ocean.
Yes. California tumbles into the sea.
Yes.
That'll be the day I go back to Annandale.
Stephen asks, this is a Devo shirt. Are you not men?
Yes.
We are Devo.
How did we manage to mix Steely Dan and Devo in one fell swoop there? But yes, today is October 19th. Again, quick show because we're both recovering addicts. No, I mean, we're both recovering from an infection. And that's not going to stop us from saying some really important things tonight and from reading some very important things from you in the chat. Thank you for that. And Robin says, oh, just 5 minutes then. Believe me, I thought about that. And yet it's already almost 5 minutes after the hour. So no, I don't think we're going to quite pull that off this time because I've got to say today is Sunday, October 19th, 2025. 2025. Man, when I was a kid, the 21st century, it still rolls off the tongue as something really futuristic. In the 21st century, we will have robots that can, well, not think, but act like they think. It's crazy what's out there.
It's nice. It's nice.
It's nice. It's nice. Oh my God. This brave new world of ours, well past 1984, is just, it's nice. We'll make that case tonight. It is the 292nd day of the year. 292 days. I remember when we were talking about, it's the 7th day of the year, the 14th day of the year, the 21st day of the year. We're moving on, and I hope y'all are making things happen. Halloween is right around the corner, 12 days away. We only got 39 days till Thanksgiving, 67 till Christmas. We're in it. We are knee deep in it, which is why we're switching from birthday mode to Halloween mode. And we're there, and on this date, October 19th, 1781, the Americans defeat the British at Yorktown. We've got friends and fans in the UK, and I have every bit of respect for the island. But see, America, yeah, Go America. This is the date in 1781. We declared our independence in 1776, but it took a big war. Not our biggest war, the Civil War was that, but maybe the biggest war, depending on how you count things. Jump forward 206 years.
That's a long ways.
That's
and
a long
lot
ways.
of people died in that span. Actually, everybody did.
Everybody who lived then died, and many generations were born. October 19th, 1985, the song Take On Me and the music video helped Norway's Aha, yes, that's the name of the band, top the U.S. pop charts. Mm-hmm. I mention that because that is a thing that also happened. And there's a certain amount of balance to be found in that, but also that music video, you will remember, was so sweet and charming. It's one of those videos that almost got you choked up watching it. It was that good. If you've never seen the video for Aha's song, Take On Me.
Everyone has.
You've got to see it. There is a link in the show notes. Look at the description on YouTube and on Facebook.
Unless you were 12.
Yeah, if you're young, you might not have caught it yet. And you should. Yeah, Take On Me by the Norwegian band Aha. The song is in English, don't worry.
They also had a song called The Sun Always Shines on TV. Yeah, it's a nice one. They were a good band.
Yes, and they came before It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So there you go. Jump forward 2 years after that, these stock markets have the largest ever one-day crash on Black Monday. We always think of Black Friday. We think of the day back in the 1929 when the markets crashed. Overall, that was worse, but single largest one-day ever crash, Black Monday 1987. I vaguely remember that. What's interesting about that is we survived it. We also survived the market crash in 2007. I say that because it's October 19th, 2025. I may be listening to this years in the future and will want it timestamped. October 19th, 2025. The Dow Jones back then was, what was it, like 20,000 or something. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is 46,190. The NASDAQ is sitting at 22,679. The S&P is at 6664, 6,664. The markets are like acting as if nothing's wrong, and these are the best days of our lives. What the heck is going on with that? Oh, well, maybe it's artificially inflated. But wait a minute, gold. Gold is sitting at 4,250. And it actually reached $4,300 an ounce this month. History is broken, and nothing in the past tells you anything about the present or the future. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit, and I do think we're probably ready for a correction. I don't know how you can sustain 46,000 with all of the market interventions going on, both from our executive-in-chief and the other countries around the world in response. My advice for you is don't change. Don't change for you.
That's NXS.
Don't change a thing. Oh, wrong band. Yeah, whoops. Why am I singing tonight? It's because I'm delirious. I am recovering from a really bad infection this week. But my point is, yeah, there may be a market correction coming. And I think Yaron Brook gives the same advice. You don't know. I don't know. He doesn't know. Nobody knows, except the people behind the scenes, perhaps, who are manipulating things and making a ton of money as a result. Nobody knows when the next crash is going to come. And the lesson from, well, it's not really the lesson from 1929, but the lesson from the later crash, rather, in 1987, that happened on this date, and the crash that happened in 2007, we recover. We always recover. We always eventually, not just recover, but we recover and go on to enormous new highs. Everything gets better all the time, or at least eventually. And I think that's an important lesson to take from this date and those stories. And also happy birthday to, well, happy birthday to the late Michael Gambon. We lost him a couple of years ago. He gets he gets a lot of knocks because of the Harry Potter series. He's always compared to Richard Harris, but Michael Gambon, he was good. He was really, really good.
Yeah, he was solid, except when he got, Harry, did you put your name in the goblet of fire?
I don't envy anybody who takes over a role from the great Richard Harris. Okay,
right.
That was going to be a thankless task, no matter what.
Yeah, that's
I know
they did that, and maybe Michael Gambon was told by the director to be that aggressive. I don't know.
He had his own style. All the rest of the birthdays, just a couple I want to celebrate. John Lithgow, still with us, 80 years old today. And everybody will talk about all of the Jonathan Lithgow roles. And of course, you can't beat his role in Buckaroo Banzai. But I think of Reverend Moore in Footloose. I've got to watch that film again. I've got to watch those old 80s dance-oriented movies. So definitely need to watch Footloose again. Happy birthday to John Lithgow. The other two birthdays I've got, you may be fans. I'm a mixed fan too, not really. But anyway, Jon Favreau. I looked up Jon Favreau, who is 59 years old today. And of course, some of you will know writer, director, Iron Man, Elf, Mandalorian, amazing talent. So I look him up and there's this podcast. There's a Jon Favreau podcast. And I listened to it for a while, and I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't sound like the guy who's done these things. Turns out there's two different people named Jon Favreau. Go figure. How could that be? That is kind of a not common name. So anyway, the Jon Favreau we celebrate today is 59 years old. And I do recommend The Mandalorian. I enjoyed that. I may have you watch that, Amy, because we tried watching Andor, and so far, Amy hasn't really gotten into it. I think Mandalorian might be more your style. I liked it better.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't enjoy Andor, but Mandalorian was cool.
Oh, okay, good.
And it's not normally my kind of thing. I'm not a Star Wars guy. I'm more of a Trekkie, if anything, and not even so much that. So Mandalorian must have been pretty damn good for me to enjoy it. Finally, it's Trey Parker's birthday. He's 56 years old, an enormous talent. Again, not really my style, but Team America, World Police, South Park. He did write the Book of Mormon, so there's a win.
Yeah,
and
that's good.
56 years old today.
Yeah, for what he does, they're good.
Now, for holidays today.
Oh, wait a minute. Before you go on, did you mention John Lithgow?
Yes, John Lithgow is 80 today.
So he's going to be the new Dumbledore, right?
John Lithgow. Oh my gosh, you mentioned that, didn't you?
Yeah. And
John Lithgow at 80 years old is going to be the new Dumbledore. 80 years old.
So the old Dumbledore, which is the second Dumbledore, is going to be replaced by the third Dumbledore, and they both share the same birthday. Isn't this correct?
That's pretty wild.
That's wild.
Yeah. I wonder what birthday Marsden, what's his first name? Michael Marsden? Dumbledore in the series, the guy with the animals and...
Oh, the Magic Beasts?
Yeah.
You mean, isn't that? No, that's
Yeah, that was Michael Marsden. Well, Johnny Depp did it initially.
No. He did Grindelwald.
Oh, Grindelwald.
And
right.
the guy who did
so who did
Dumbledore in that was his name is on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, Jude Law.
Yeah.
Jude Law. Okay. Anyway, folks, sorry about the last 30 seconds in which I mixed everything up. Oh, well.
Let me just find out what their birthdays are. December. And then Richard Harris, what's his birthday?
Well, Richard Harris is timeless. No idea what his birthday is, but...
Oh, October 1st. Close.
Pretty damn close. So,
we can create our own astrological system based on these things for Harry Potter actors.
Absolutely. I need to reevaluate my life. Actually, it's Evaluate Your Life Day. There's a holiday for you made up whole cloth, but always a good idea. We do acknowledge Socrates, who said the unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates for saying the unexamined life is not worth living. The improperly pronounced name is not worth saying. I like this. I like having, I always like a day to do something which, well, you should do that every day. Yeah, you should, but to have a day to remind you in case you haven't been or haven't been as regularly as you should. So absolutely, I'm all good for that. I ask myself questions like, If I just met somebody, ask yourself this, if I just met somebody exactly like me, I mean, it didn't look like me or any of the crazy stuff, but just somebody like me with my level of energy and intelligence and enthusiasm and career success and lifestyle, what would I think of that person? I can see someone exactly like myself, but externally. Would I say, oh, cool. Yeah, he's doing it right. Or would I say, if I was that guy, I'd work a little more on the whatever, health and fitness or career success or whatever the thing is. I like that exercise. I do that on a regular basis. It motivates me to do things, even though many of those things remain a challenge.
If I met myself,
yeah.
God, we'd have so much fun.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We'd wear each other out. We'd go on adventures. We would say yes to each other all the time. It'd be so great.
Yeah, the only other holiday that stood out that I saw was it's Respiratory Care Week. The whole week, not just the day. And Lord knows I need that. So if you have respiratory issues, there's a link in the show notes for you to
it's really good for your respiratory health?
What is good for your respiratory health?
Is swimming.
Swimming?
Yeah, it increases your lung capacity over time. And it basically, because you're holding your breath and all of that. And if you can do that, or just breathing exercises in general. And playing an instrument like a woodwind or brass instrument, it's very good for you.
Yeah, or even a saxophone. There you are.
Mm-hmm.
As somebody does.
Yes.
Who is not me. I can play the kazoo. I can play a mean kazoo, and it sounds really mean when I do it. On to shameless self-promotion, and what are we listening to this week? If you are on the Facebooks, you saw my birthday message, which was, I'm sick, but, happy birthday to me anyway. And I posted myself playing an acoustic guitar version of the Stevie Wonder song, Don't You Worry About a Thing. It is not nearly as joyous as the wonderful version that we got to see at Ocon at the talent show, but I did my best to post something that was more cheerful than I was feeling on my birthday on the 16th there. So I posted a link to that because that is a public message if you're on Facebook. I think maybe even if you're not, you can see that one or two pages before Facebook says you should join up if you're going to read it or watch our stuff. The second link there is a link to one of my favorite music podcasts on YouTube by the presenter Fathom. And this week, purely by chance, and maybe posted an hour after I posted my birthday video, she posted the enduring relevance of Stevie Wonder's Inner Visions. And most of the episode was about that same song that I had just posted myself singing an hour before. What are the odds? It's obviously, what were you talking about, astrology or cosmic
we're going to
connections.
Create a cosmic system based on the birth dates of Harry Potter actors.
Yeah, well.
And it'll be totally legit.
It started, this universe tapping me on the shoulder and saying, ooh, it started on Thursday. What are the odds of those two things happening? So, links in the show notes. Also, yesterday, Dan Norton, up-and-coming objectivist, YouTuber, podcaster, although he's been doing this for years. He only really started doing the live shows he does, these marathon sessions. It might be 3 hours, it might be 7 hours this year. The Dan Norton Show was titled No Kings, Rand, Social Security and Medicare, Martin Anderson, Nozick, he updated it for things that came up, egoism/altruism, existence, etc. Excuse me. Should have hit that cough button. And this was, again, one of those marathon sessions. So if you're not following the Dan Norton Show, you might consider taking a look at that. And one of the topics that came up, probably under the topic he mentions, egoism, altruism, I want to talk about. The last item under self-promotion, He Who Must Die by Ron Toole and the Capitalists. I mention He Who Must Die by Ron Toole and the Capitalists because
I played bass on it.
Because Amy played bass on it. Amy was the bass player for Ron Toole and the Capitalists. I played lead guitar on it.
You did?
Yeah, and I included a brief snippet of Hail to the Chief in there. I was going to play more of it, but I was told by somebody, I think it was you, that it would be kind of cheesy and just play the first few notes and then go into a regular guitar solo, which is probably good advice. I mention that because, and I've told you folks this before, we are in a time, and this takes us into our topic, we are in a time in which many people in the United States of America find themselves disenfranchised. Somebody took away their Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant. No, disenfranchised from politics. We're not leftists, but we're not MAGA. I can't even say conservative because that doesn't really mean anything anymore. We're none of the above.
We're not even technically pro market Tea Party, old school conservatives from 6 years ago.
Yeah, I miss the Tea Party actually, and it's strange to think that when we were attending Tea Party rallies, that was 15 years ago. What?
Yike.
Jeez Louise.
And yeah.
No, we are. I mean, I just freedom, liberty. I wouldn't call that libertarian, but if folks want to use lowercase L libertarian, that's fine. We're disenfranchised. We're homeless. We've got no home. Ain't got no home. I'm gonna end up singing everything we talk about today, and that came up in the context of the rallies that happened yesterday. Mm-hmm. Earlier this year, there were a set of protest rallies, No Kings rallies.
In June.
And they scheduled them to happen again in October. And they happened again yesterday. We missed those. We did not attend as we did the first time. Because we are recovering addicts. I'm sorry. We are recovering from infection or something. You never really
we
know.
both had man colds.
You don't know what it is. Is it a cold? Is it a virus? Is it a bacterial? They give you antibiotics, but they don't know. All they know is your white blood cell count is up. You feel miserable. Your respiratory system is doing terrible things despite Respiratory Care Week. And so they give you drugs. And then you wait for it to go away. And maybe the drugs help. Maybe they didn't.
So ironic that it was Respiratory Week and you were fit of cold.
Yeah, on my birthday. But that means we missed the No Kings rally this weekend. I don't know if we would have attended anyway, but
I think we would have, but no.
But I'm glad it happened. And I say that because some of you are rightly critical, or at least questioning about the propriety of protesting with a bunch of people who are not politically aligned with, obviously, with us. And I get it. It was mostly left-leaning people. It wasn't mostly leftists, although the leadership, most of the people giving speeches were. No, it was mostly just normal people. None of the abovers like us. Or people who identify as Democrats, but not crazy leadership Democrats. No, just people. But a lot of us who have gone to these rallies before, or who are in praise of these rallies, or were able to attend yesterday, have taken a lot of heat. And I have something to say about that. First of all, to those who would say, why do you speak out against the present administration? Did you speak out against Biden? Did you speak out against Obama? Did you speak out against the left when they were in charge?
Yes.
Listen to that song, He Who Must Die by Ron Toole and the Capitalists. Yeah. The person who must die, according to that song, is not a conservative. I'm going to leave it at there. I don't want the Secret Service coming after me. I didn't write the lyrics. That was entirely our lead singer. It was not my idea to write.
It wasn't so much as a call to murder or anything like that. It was more of like a recognition of general mortality. Person must die. Everyone must die.
It actually gave specific instructions. It actually gave specific instructions on how that person could be made to die. It was pretty direct.
I guess it all comes back to me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the chorus went 1 + 9 + 8 + 4. He who must die.
Well, yeah, but it included things like poison in a piece of pie. make a corpse of that Chicago thug. It was pretty explicit.
Yeah.
It was pretty explicit.
But, it was a silly song, I'll just say. But
there is a whole photo album on my Facebook, and Amy, you've posted these too, of rallies that we've attended. Rallies against the right? No, those are rare. Few and far between. Rallies against the left. Rallies against Bill Clinton. Rallies against Barack Obama. Rallies, and not the individual people, but the things. Rallies against universal health care. Rallies against the boards of education. People say, why didn't you fight the left? I have fought the left 20 times more than anything that I have done in protest of the present administration. And I make that point again to say, well, there are people who think if you're either for us or you're against us. You're either for Donald Trump or you are for, and then they name the most extreme fringe thing that's going on on the left, as if that's everything about the left. There was an old expression. Some of you will know this expression, this phrase. If you're in your 20s, if you're young, if you're in your 20s and you are not a liberal, not a Democrat, then you have no heart. But if you're in your 30s and you're not now a conservative, a Republican, you have no brain. And the idea was that the left, they were of the heart. They were all about emotion, feel good, be nice, do nice things for people, but completely, of course, detached from reality and unrealistic. So if you actually have a brain and you grow up a little and get out in the real world and you see what it's like to earn a living and deal with reality, buy a house, raise a family, do those things, then you would switch. You would immediately say, oh, I see now. Now I'm a conservative. Now I'm a Republican. Well, here's my answer to that. If you're in your 20s and you're not a liberal, you have no heart. You're in your 30s and you're not a conservative, you have no brain. I say if you are in your 40s or older, or just if you've read Ayn Rand's works at whatever age, and you're still either a devout cheerleader or apologist for either the left or the right, then you have given up. You have given up on morality, you've given up on ideals, you've given up on optimism, you've given up on yourself, you've given up on life on earth. No, you should not turn out to be on the left or on the right. To embrace either side of that false alternative, it's a remarkable failure to be selfish, a failure to be self-defined, self-focused, self-assured, self-confident, self-interested.
Self-interested?
Go figure. I mean, how you vote is one thing, and there are all sorts of strategies you can apply to how you choose to vote. But what you, to your friends and family, or out in the streets, or on whatever microphone or platform you've got, what you champion, what you sanction, what you embrace, you actively embrace, and what you condemn other people for not similarly caving into, what you criticize others for not getting on board with your stuff, that's something else altogether. Voting is one thing. Championing is another. Just to give an example that I'll pick out of thin air, it's one thing to say, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump because Kamala Harris would have been a disaster. I think it's wrong the way she wasn't actually given a primary. She was sort of anointed as Biden's successor, and I think that was wrong. There are a lot of reasons why you might have chosen to vote for Donald Trump. But if you then feel you need to justify that by saying, Donald Trump, actually, he's really good. He's a hero. He's strong, and he's making the country better. That's something else altogether. Now, you can make that argument, and I've heard people make that argument. But if you then lose your ability to understand the counter-arguments, to at least entertain the possibility that the present administration is violating rights, violating freedoms, violating liberties, and not in some broad abstract way, although they're doing that too, given the Constitution. But in individual cases with individual Americans and individual immigrants, but leave that aside for a moment, if you can't see that, and all you have is an angry, violent reaction to anybody who's not on board with you, and if they don't agree with you, they must be, well, on the left, duped by the media and by the leadership and George Soros and the powers that be out there, I would suggest that you reconsider that. But enough of that. The point is, people in our position, Amy, it's funny, earlier Quint Cordair wrote, illegitimi non carborundum, which is a bit of Latin that is very loosely translated
as illegitimate carburetor.
Right. No, somehow it translates as "don't let the bastards get you down."
Oh, okay.
And that's the only point I want to make is those of you who are none of the above, who you may think there are good things about whichever side you think is less corrupt than the other, or you may think there's nothing good about it, and that even when they do good things, everything else makes it bad. Yeah, don't let the turkeys or the bastards grind you down. To let the bastards matter too much would actually be to make the same mistake that the cheerleaders make, which is letting all of that out there be the new normal, as if that's what we're up against.
Wait. Cheerleaders what?
Cheerleaders I'm talking about are the people who think that they need to support, for example, Donald Trump.
Oh.
Not just vote for him.
Okay.
But cheerleader for him. Cheerlead him. Talk about how great he is.
Right.
And pull out the long guns for anybody who is critical of him.
Oh, I see. You mean the sycophants?
Sure. Yeah. Right. Yeah, those are the bastards that Quint Cordair is talking about.
Yes.
The critics. The people who will come onto your show, for example, or your social media feed or your Substack or wherever they would engage with you and say, you have a blind hatred of Donald Trump. You have Trump derangement syndrome. You're not thinking for yourself. You're a leftist. Whether you are or not, because that's all they can see. You're either for us or you're against us. You're either supporting this guy or you're a commie, pinko, socialist, Mondavi supporting. Like, what makes you there support him? Because you don't support Trump.
Yeah, I mean, anything like that is non-cognitive. I mean, they may as well be parrots. Where's the argumentation? Where are the issues? What do you actually think about anything? Yeah, you can spout out all sorts of name calling all you like, but it's not going to get you anywhere or anybody anywhere. Well, you might as well just listen to white noise.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right not to take them too seriously. I mean, sometimes they're friends of yours and you've got to engage with them. But you're right. You're right. To let that matter too much would be, again, to commit the same mistake they're making, which is thinking that the craziness going on today is what matters.
Yeah.
That's the important stuff. That's powerful. That's normal.
Do you mind if I interject?
Please.
As days go on, now we're in the 10th month of the second Trump presidency. Every day it hits me like a boot in the head that people are not talking about what's actually relevant in politics, which is the morality that most of this politics is coming out of. And that's the morality of altruism. And it's looking at humanity as if we're either masters or we're slaves. Or we're going to force our neighbors to become our keepers, or our neighbors are going to force us to be under their rule. And that's the only alternative that we have. There is no freedom. There is no mutual trade. There is no reason between people. There's no relationships based in reason. And it's no one's talking about this, and it's really I go on the Bulwark and other, fairly rational, fairly grounded, news sources out there, commentators, Sam Harris, whoever it is. No one's talking about altruism, and no one's talking about how you must not apply that half-baked, half-assed morality to politics, because if you do, you end up with tribalism, you end up with warring factions, you end up with so-called positive rights. I was on Facebook and people were asking, well, I guess there were, I think, 250,000 protesters in Chicago, and some of them were holding this really extraordinarily long copy of the Constitution, so almost like a billboard-sized banner that they held as they were walking down the street. And we're thinking, well, do they really understand what the Constitution is saying? My comment to that is, yeah, they do. And yes, they do believe in the Bill of Rights, except that they also want to have the rights that are born out of altruism, positive rights, or, for instance, freedom from want, for instance, is a good way to put that. They want those sorts of positive goody rights where it requires forced redistribution of wealth and forcing your neighbor to become your keeper. They want all of that to somehow magically coexist, and it cannot happen that way. And we need to keep pointing this out to people. So when I talk to people on the right or talk to people on the left, I got to mention this to them, because I really think that a lot of the hatred, the seething hatred from the right that you're seeing, or the seething hatred from the left that you're seeing, is born out of that kind of horrible confusion that people have. And all they can do is just assume that other people are evil. They don't look into what their morality is about, what the moral code is, exactly, asking themselves questions about, what should a government be based on? Why should we have limited government? Are the ideas in the Constitution valid? And further than that, I mean, what is this whole self-sacrifice that we're basing a lot of our laws on? Is that valid? So anyway, it's time we start pushing back on altruism very, very explicitly, because I think that's the one thing that's missing in the conversation here. It's the most relevant. Go ahead.
Yeah, the one possibility that you live a life for your own sake is not on the table. You either sacrifice yourself to one cause or the other. Absolutely. Sorry, I was just looking at the chat here. Greg says the wind blew his cemetery headstones over. We have the same problem. We have a graveyard out in front of the house, and yeah, the wind is playing havoc with a few of those headstones. And of course, they weigh hundreds of pounds of stone, but somehow the wind can do that. Jim asked, what was John Lithgow's character name in Buckaroo Banzai? Was it John Smallberries, John Big Booty? His henchmen, all had ridiculous names, starting with John and usually very insulting. Of course, he was Dr. Emilio Lizardo, but you're right, I think he might have also had one of those silly names, and hiding under the name Dr. Lizardo, being one of the lizard people. That was not terribly clever, was it? Funny and ridiculous film. Yes, good stuff there. Akira says, I always wanted to go to a pride parade, and I thought, well, no amount of promiscuity, hedonism, or nihilism will stop me from going. That being said, I don't want to go after Gays for Hamas became a thing. I totally get that. And if you were going to attend a No Kings rally with a similar problem, I can see the hesitation. Our friend Sean went to the one in downtown Detroit last time around, and there were a few... I don't know if there were any gays for Hamas there, but yeah, there were some people protesting in favor of Palestine. They were a small minority, but they did give a little speech, and it was an issue, but it was not a big enough part of what was going on that you would assume anybody else there was supporting it. So yeah, that's a balancing act. You've got to figure out what really is being said. Paulo Zeus wants to know who's the marshmallow person with the hat in the middle. We're changing over from birthday to Halloween. I told the story about we were both ill. I was really ill on my birthday earlier this week. And so we're throwing birthday out and going to Halloween. So if you saw my solo show 2 weeks ago, you met our ghosty friend anyway, because that was my co-host for that episode, which has gotten a large number of views. So thank you for that. For those of you who watched and those of you who shared, I do appreciate it. Yeah, Jim says, rights and values are two words that people need to clearly and correctly define. It really is a matter of life and death. You know, on that show I mentioned that Dan Norton did yesterday, he had somebody on. He brings on people through the chat, and then sometimes he'll have them come up through Zoom and actually essentially call into the show. And there was one guy, who was supporting evolutionary theory as the basis of morality. And the idea was that evolution is pointing the human race and people in a certain direction. And as we have evolved with certain morals. And he seemed to have he literally, because utilitarianism was part of his screen name, this idea that, we should all want to be part of the evolutionary push in a given direction. I thought, why? Even if, you could interpret evolution that way, and I would argue you can't, but even if you could say evolution is moving us in a certain direction to a certain ideal, why would any individual choose that? Why would you say, it's for example, altruism was an element of this, and because of the way altruism enables us to do certain things and improve society in a certain direction. I thought, even if that was true, why would anybody in their own individual life choose that? If it's not going to do me any good, it's not going to do anybody I care about any good, if it's not good for my family, if it's not good for my mother, my daughter, my wife, anybody, why would I say, evolution obviously wants that from us, I should embrace it? Obviously, the caller had no answer to that in the chat where I was writing, but I would say the same thing to the left, and I would say the same thing to the right, or at least anybody who identifies themselves in that way. Because the left and the right do not define our only choices. I mean, politics matters on election day, and it matters when we're filing our taxes, and politics matters when we're reading and understanding the news, and when we're deciding to be part of the fight. We attend rallies and go to events, although I think we do that more to make a point and reach kindred spirits than we do to actually solve the problems of the world. But those are not our only choices. Politics does not define our choices. And I mentioned this earlier, I can already hear the opposition answering, but practically speaking, only today's right can defeat today's left, and I need that to happen. And the only way I can help make that happen is to actively embrace the right. They say you go to war with the army you've got, or in the case of our president, you go to war with the general you've got. And I would say, like every compromise of that kind, once you get your outcome, the right wins for a while, they will do terrible things with the power that you gave them by getting them into office. And far more importantly, they will have received from you a mandate to do those terrible things, your moral sanction, that mandate, and no one will be left to stop the slide of both the liberals and the conservatives toward full-blown altruism, statism, collectivism. What can you say? I mentioned the first time around, the first season of The Apprentice White House edition, we were told you should vote for Trump now because, we've got to make sure Hillary doesn't win. And then we will hold his feet to the fire afterwards. And then afterwards, when we were holding his feet to the fire, people were like, what the hell are you doing? Why aren't you supporting Trump now, too? Because, the left is still out there, so...
Yeah, I remember way back when Rob Krasinski, bless his heart, had the anti-Bushites for Bush. Yeah. And I think it was something along the lines of something that Ayn Rand said or something. The idea of, we're going to vote for this guy, but we're going to hold it, we're going to hold him accountable.
Yeah, you're right. Ayn Rand did that in regard to Nixon.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, we got to vote for Nixon because obviously George McGovern would be far, far, far worse.
But yeah, I mean, when I think of politics, and now I was in the political system in the GOP for 5 years, and when Trump got on the scene in 2016, I left. But I mean, you got to play the long game. You can't go in and think to yourself, if I just introduce them to, if I do a presentation on individual rights to Campaign for Liberty, which I did, you can't expect everybody to say, oh my gosh, I never thought of this way. And I never thought of the morality of altruism and rational egoism and how this relates to individual rights and reason and how, reason, that individual rights has to be based on reason, nothing else, yada, yada. I wasn't expecting any of that, but I was expecting to go up there and present a positive case and also show people that, objectivism is my philosophy. Ayn Rand is my hero and my philosophical hero, and benefited from her greatly. And I'm all the better for it. And I have a great life because of it. If you can say that, if you can say, here I am as an example of somebody who is actually happy in life and who isn't constantly riddled with contradictions and conflicts and, getting into arguments with the people I love and all of this other stuff, you might make an impression, especially to young people. But that's all you can really do is play the long game. And yeah. And so when we've gone to like the rally back in June, the No Kings rally, we had our signs were double-sided and just loaded with Ayn Rand quotes and context and references.
And we shared those with you at the time, but we also shared them on a few threads for people attending this time around.
But the idea here is that, people may not agree with you, but they are seeing people who are like, oh, wait a minute, they actually study. You mean there's a philosophy behind Atlas Shrugged? Or that I remember reading The Fountainhead in high school. Wait, there's more to it than that? Maybe I should look into it. And that's all I am asking for.
Yep. All we're doing is getting people from the point of saying, I can't believe people take Ayn Rand seriously, to, oh, people take Ayn Rand seriously, and I guess I have to believe they do.
Yeah, we actually...
And they may still think whatever they believe, but that's a step forward.
We went to the grocery store recently. I had to get some items to bake Robert a birthday cake, which turned out really wonderful.
The best thing about my birthday was that birthday cake.
Which is half eaten, and now we're going to have to throw it out because we've eaten too much. But there was this gentleman who I think he looked as if he had like a veteran's hat on. He was elderly. He was, sitting in a scooter in the grocery store. And I had an Ayn Rand shirt on, and that had her face on it, and it said, "The smallest minority is the individual." And he's like, "Oh yeah, Ayn Rand, I remember her." And I'm like, yes, Ayn Rand. And I looked at him straight in the eye, and I said, Ayn Rand has benefited my life in so many numerous ways. I'm so grateful to her and her philosophy of objectivism. And he's like, oh, that's great. And I'm like, yeah, you should reread Atlas Shrugged. And that was our exchange. I mean, what else can you say? You just got to be positive. You just have to have a smile on your face, and you have to assume positive intent when people call you out.
We have one small voice.
No, we don't. That's Ellsworth Toohey's voice.
I mentioned that because I couldn't resist using that phrase. In the earlier discussion I mentioned, I said, these Trump supporters will answer back. Those of us who advocate for the individual and individual rights, we are too small to make any difference, like at a No Kings rally, for example. And I thought, well, yeah, but the point is, if we are a very small voice, say there's a few 100,000 like us, or extend that tent out a little wider, just people who are against Trump and pro-liberty. So maybe a few million. Saying something besides, oh, we've all got to vote for Trump because that's the best we can do. Saying something besides that, saying something different, speaking reason and individualism and capitalism and principles. That small voice that we've got, our few million, that's not even going to be heard if all it's saying is you've got to support Trump. That's not going to make any difference to those 150 million people. But if we're saying something different, if we're saying something true, that may make no difference to half of MAGA or half of the left. But to the people whose ears are still open, the people who are still willing to at least think, saying something different might matter. Saying something the same as everybody else is not gonna matter. Jumping on board the Trump train, you're not gonna help Trump. You're not gonna help anything. Saying something different is what may matter. If we've only got 100,000 people or a few million people, saying something different, saying something with integrity, something you actually believe, well, there's power in that. It's going to make no difference to the 150 million on the left and the right. If all you're saying is, go team, your compromise adds nothing to the battle. Your integrity, still one small voice, but it is saying something. It matters. And that's big. That's huge. That's something. Let's see. I see Stephen is going to be at the Irreplaceable Spark Conference next weekend. Good.
Neato.
Excellent. We will see you there.
All right.
We will absolutely see you there.
Yeah, it's going to be I'm really looking forward to it, because not only we're going to go see Rozzy and gang, but I'm going to go to see the grave of my grandfather on my mom's side at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. And we're also going to go to Disneyland. And I'm so stoked.
Yes, absolutely. And Narendra is here and says, why are we scared of the left? Trump is in power. I think that's a great question. We should ask our Trump-supporting friends that. I already know in advance what their answer is, which is, yeah, but the left controls everything still. They control the universities. They control the media. They've got everybody brainwashed. So we've got to keep, no matter how many wins we have and how much power we have assumed control over, we've got to keep fighting. I already know the answer to that, but you, in fact, Narendra, are absolutely right about that. That is 102% true.
Yeah, but we need to wrap up in 7 minutes, because
so we need to wrap up.
I need to go to the haunted houses.
Says 34 subscribers to go, Robert and Amy. Thank you for mentioning that. We've got to get to 500 subscribers.
Yes, 34.
YouTube has changed the rules. There are now 2 tiers. There are different levels at which you can, for example, start using super chats in your feeds. And now the basic level at which to monetize a YouTube show is you need a show with at least 500 subscribers. And as Tom mentions, that's great because we're only 34 shy of that. And you need 3,000 watch hours. I'm doing something about the watch hours where we're falling a little short on that too. That's 3,000 where you average over the course of a year.
We should probably do more.
We need more
videos.
Shorts.
Yeah, I guess we need more.
Well, we need more videos.
Yeah,
but we need more shorts. That little short I mentioned, where I got some kind of trolls. Well, not trolls, just people who disagreed. That video has been watched over 8,000 times.
Ah.
I only have one, regular full-length video, I think, on my channel that has been watched over 8,000 times. And now that little short, and, granted, it only takes 60 seconds out of your life, so you can only say so much. But the point is, yeah, I will be doing more shorts.
Good.
Because those turn out to be really effective.
Yeah.
Or at least, whether they're effective or not, they get a lot of views. So, yeah, we're going to work on our watch hours. We're going to work on our... Robin wants to help out. He says, I'll try to watch more. Can I just watch 5 minutes 3,000 times? I think so, yeah. Because I think YouTube counts it as a watch as long as you have watched more than, I forget the number. It's low, a couple minutes, something like that. At least according to their documentation. I don't know, because I've got videos of ours I have watched a few minutes of just to research things we said, and they don't seem to count as views. Anyway, we'll look that up. Either way, yes, by all means, please watch some of our past episodes. If you find the topical ones, they actually hold up well. It's not all current events, and it's not all on this date. Although I think that holds up well, too. Folks, thank you for joining us. Amy's got to hit the road.
Yeah, Race says that he uses a service called vidIQ or vidIQ. vidIQ, maybe.
For creating shorts?
Yeah, for creating shorts.
I will look into that.
And also, Stephen asks, how do you get better at introspection?
How do you get better at introspection?
Talk to yourself more.
Find our episodes on introspection, and we will give you all the tips that you need.
Ask yourself questions and write down the answers. Ask yourself what you like. I mean, it really depends on what you want to delve into.
There are specific exercises. So you're going to need to look up specific exercises. And there are plenty of them out there. I can't tell you all of them. The one I mentioned earlier, for example, imagine you meeting yourself.
Yeah.
And what would your honest impression of you be? And not to criticize yourself.
No.
That's not the point of this. But simply to ask, if I met myself, what advice would I give myself?
And there are books you can read on the topic. I mean, I got into the morning pages by reading The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron.
Highly recommended.
And actually, Greg in the chat does morning pages as well.
That is one of the most powerful introspection exercises you can do. You might think, well, if I just write notes to myself and write what's on my mind, do free
Stream
form, stream of consciousness, I'll end up saying nothing more open to myself than I would say when I just think.
Yeah.
It turns out that's not how that plays out at all.
No.
I've talked many times about externalizing, how writing something is very different than thinking something. So point is, lots of good exercises out there. We've talked about some of them. Maybe we'll do a show on that. Maybe we'll make that our next episode. And that leads me into the point that our next episode might not be next Sunday.
That's true.
Because of that irresponsible spork conference. The Irrepressible Spank Conference. We may not do a show next Sunday.
It's going to be great.
The conference is going to be great. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have fun with the name because the name is inspired by an important part of Ayn Rand's writing.
We're going to have Jonathan Hoenig, Linda Cordair, Mark Pellegrino, Jim Brown.
All the cool kids are doing it.
All the cool kids are doing it.
No, it is. If it wasn't going to be great.
We've got Catherine Dickerson. We have this guy named Leonard Peikoff. He's that new guy on the scene.
Yeah, he's going to be there. He doesn't do much, but he's doing this one, so it must be good. No, seriously, folks, we would not be there if this was not going to be a very, very good time, a valuable conference. And the reason we wouldn't be there is because it's only a weekend conference, and we are flying thousands of miles and spending lots of money to do it.
In a metal tube.
In a metal tube, like Louis C.K. would say. So yes, absolutely. And YouTube keeps prompting me saying that people's comments are questionable. And it turns out that they're references to pornography, and we don't generally talk about pornography on this show.
Yeah,
but
get your mind on the gutter.
I'm showing everything because we don't want to repress or irrepress or irrepressible. See, there I go. Anyway, your comments have all now been unhidden, and everybody can see them for better or for worse.
Yes.
So yes, we may not do a live episode next week. We might have to do it at a different time, or we might have to take the week off. We could have taken tonight off, being that we are under the weather, but no, you are paying for this, those of you who are on Patreon, and we do not want to all of you, we don't want to let any of you down. If you want to pay for this too, go to patreon.com/Robert Nasir and sign up. Looking for a few more patrons. We dipped below an even number recently, so I could use another patron or two.
Yes.
And if you've got, a couple dollars, $5, $10, $50 of loose change in your pocket every month, and you wish you didn't have that loose change in your pocket every month, we can relieve you of that and turn that into words, into ideas, into fun conversations like this one.
So the next time you join us, you can say, you know what? I contributed to this. Yeah. I am a part of this. Yeah. And I brought this to life, and here they are. Like the producer of a film who makes sure they get funding. You become one of those producers. Yes, become a producer.
If that's not in the budget right now, do like the show and share the show. And what was the third thing? Like, share, subscribe. Well, you're all, I'm sure, already subscribers, right? But if you're not, especially if you're listening to this later, listening to the podcast, the audio.
Yeah, share the show and tell people to subscribe. You know what? We might get subscribers this way.
Yeah. And if anybody out there doesn't know that yet, you can actually listen to this show later. Heck, you can listen to it and watch it because we're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify Podcasts. We're on Google. We are on all of the platforms that are out there.
Yes. So if this is a value to you, actualize your values.
Actualize your values. And I told Amy we would wrap up at the top of the hour so that she could get off on her haunted adventure. So, folks, thank you. Thank you for joining us. All that is left is for me to wish you all of the success that you so richly deserve. I know that you do. You don't watch a show like this if you are not good people, kindred spirits, part of Team Reality. I was going to say Team Nasir, but that sounded too limited. No, Team Life, flourishing.
Team Reason.
And that's it. There's nothing left. Oh, wait. I have not wished you the one thing that, of course, I wish you every week, and for good reason. We wish you love.